What is going on? What an absolute shambles at West Ham United right now. And it's actually quite difficult to keep up to date with everything because there's so many people and so many conflicting stories. I think today is one of those days. It all depends on what you read and who you believe. But one thing's for sure, the circus is well and truly back in town at West Ham United. And to sum it up, there's quite a few things going on that would usually be quite significant, but nobody's bothered today because there's that much going on. Our captain, who's out for a couple of months, has provided a bit of a fitness update on his own social media post, which is positive. Nobody's paying attention to it. We played a game a couple of days ago and got beat 4-1. Nobody's talking about it anymore. We play in the FA Cup on Friday against Aston Villa. Nobody's discussing it. Tim Steidten has been told he's basically a head scout for the January transfer window. Insignificant. Tim Steidten has been banned / walked away from the training ground. This goes back to who do you believe. Even that doesn't seem like the most important news today because, and this feels different, we've heard this a lot, which is Lopetegui's going to lose his job. But to me, it feels quite significant today, and it does have a feeling that it's going to happen. This is the first time. I've always believed Lopetegui could get sacked, but I've never yet believed Lopetegui would get sacked. I'll be honest with you, and perhaps I'm being a bit naive here. Today is the first day I think Lopetegui will get sacked, whether it's before or after the Aston Villa game. I feel like that's the only thing debatable right now, just going by what I believe. So the reports are Lopetegui is going to be sacked and Graham Potter will come in. Now, there's another name in the running, and I'm going to get this over and done with pretty quickly so we can move on. Steve Cooper. Now, there's a journalist who's predominantly Man United based called Sam. He's done an article saying that West Ham are looking at bringing in somebody on a short-term deal, and the two names he knows are Graham Potter and Steve Cooper. Now, the thing that terrifies me is Steve Cooper was at our game on Saturday, just 2 days ago, when we got beat 4-1 by Manchester City. He was there in the stands. Let's face it, he wasn't there on the off chance of replacing Pep Guardiola, was he? So why? Maybe he was just there as a spectator. David Moyes, OBE, was there as a spectator as well, but he lives in that area of the country. Steve Cooper might. I don't know where Steve Cooper lives, truth be told, but no. Let's get the Cooper one over and done with. Not in a million years. No, thank you. It's a similar attitude I had with Lopetegui in the summer. No, thank you. We're not that bad. We're not Steve Cooper bad yet. We might become that bad and get into the bottom three. Then you get desperate, and it's a case of who can you get. We are not at that point yet. We're not in the bottom three yet. We are not in Premier League table wise, okay? We're not in crisis mode. We are still a few defeats away from there. We are not at Steve Cooper level. There is no reason to employ Steve Cooper. Now, before someone says Lopetegui or Cooper, that's not the choice. It doesn't need to be Lopetegui or Steve Cooper. If that is the choice, that is because of David Sullivan, nobody else. No to Steve Cooper. I think I made myself clear on my views of Steve Cooper there. Excellent manager for someone in the Championship, not for someone in the Premier League. But moving on then. So the reports are, there's sort of conflicting reports, but they all result in the same thing, which is Lopetegui being sacked. There were some reports yesterday that he had the next 3 games. And then there's reports come out today saying, well, he won't even be in charge for the Fulham game, which, and this is, I have an issue with this. So he won't be in charge for the Fulham game, which is our second fixture. So on Friday we play Aston Villa, and then on Tuesday, I think it's Tuesday, it's the 14th, so yeah, today's the 6th, so Tuesday we play Fulham in the leagues, and the reports were Lopetegui will get the Villa game, but not the Fulham one. No. If you've already decided that, you've decided you're sacking him, get him gone now. Do not, under any circumstances, please, West Ham United and David Sullivan, because it's you ultimately deciding this, do not write off the FA Cup. Yes, it's a difficult fixture away to Aston Villa. There's a big event around it because Aston Villa's 150th anniversary and they're making an evening of it and they've got a lot of celebrations lined up. Even better, What a better occasion to turn up and ruin it for them. Do not write off the FA Cup. Do not let Lopetegui have it with the intention of sacking him. Because I'll tell you two things. One, don't disrespect the FA Cup like that. It's the only thing we've got to look forward to for the remainder of the season. For me anyway, I love the FA Cup. Please, can we take it serious and go all out to win it? This season, it's unlikely. This season can still become a success, and that is by winning the FA Cup. Why shouldn't we aim to win it? We should always aim to win it, but especially when you don't have a Premier League campaign. It was difficult over the last few seasons because last season we were still, at this point, we're still well and truly in the race for European football. We were in a good position. The season before that, we were in a relegation battle at this point, but we had the Conference League, which we knew we would likely win. And the season before that, we had Europa League, as well as trying to qualify for European football again. And the season before that, that was the Jesse Lingard window, if I'm not wrong, it was Jesse Lingard window, where we were in the race of European football. So FA Cup, understandably, took a bit of a back seat over the last few seasons. Not this one. There's no excuses here. We're not in a relegation battle yet. The FA Cup should become our priority at this point. And if the board allow him to manage the game on Friday with the intention of sacking him afterwards, it's just the board putting two fingers up to the FA Cup. Don't do that, please. Please take this seriously. And if you've decided this guy needs sacked, the only way the board can be shown to have taken the FA Cup serious is by sacking him beforehand so he's not in charge on Friday night. And the second reason for sacking him now is because what are you going to do if he wins? What are you going to do? And I know we will likely lose, okay? We all know that. West Ham fans, Aston Villa fans, the West Ham board clearly have decided we're going to lose that game if Lopetegui's in charge. But what happens if we do win? Then what you're going to do? You've decided you're sacking him and he wins. Are you going to sack him after a win? I don't trust the board to do that. They ain't got the bollocks. They've not even got the bollocks to sack him before the FA Cup game when they want to sack him. Like they're going to sack him after it if we beat Aston Villa, one of the better clubs in the country. We rock up at their place, 150th anniversary, big night, and we put them out live on ITV, BBC, one of them, live on telly on Friday night. We do that. Brilliant. Everybody's feeling good. Now you're going to sack the manager. Would make a lot of people feel even better. Continue the celebrations of the win. But I just think it's an unnecessary risk on the off chance that we win on Friday. And also, Lopetegui will be aware of all this. He will know he's probably getting sacked. What's his motivation for Friday night then? To cling on by his fingernails. Whether he gets sacked today or Saturday morning, the compensation is probably the same amount. Financially, we won't be saving any money. If any, then we can earn a bit of money by winning the tie on Friday. It's not much. It's a few thousand. Might pay 1 week of Lopetegui's wages on the compensation bill. If you've already decided you're going to sack him, good, sack him now. I don't care who's in charge on Friday. It could be Jared Bowen for all I care. It wouldn't be. Kevin Keane, put him in charge on Friday night. Just give them the game. It doesn't have to be Graham Potter, and it better not be Steve Cooper, right? Better not be him. I'd rather Jared Bowen than Steve Cooper. But put someone else in charge of Friday night. Make the decision now. As for Graham Potter, Gonzo did a little video earlier on Patreon. I'm going to tell you a little bit of what he said. He knows a few people now, Gonzo. You don't do this for, well, I've been doing Hamish Chat 10 years, not YouTube. YouTube's not been going for 10 years, but Hamish Chat has been going for 10 years. You don't do this without getting to know some people. And he knows a few people and speaks to a few people, so he gets some snippets of information. Not always, but sometimes. And in the last 24 hours he has done, because people are interested. There's a lot of noise around West Ham. There's a lot of, you've seen it yourself. There's non-West Ham journalists like Matt Law reporting on West Ham. They don't always do that. The bigger noise this season has been at Old Trafford, focusing on Ten Hag and then Ruben Amorim. Then it's the Liverpool players' contracts. But it's on West Ham today. The buzz is around West Ham. So a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails flying around, and Gonzo's picking up a bit of information. And he did a video on Patreon to shamelessly promote Patreon, and I'm not going to do that. That's why I've not mentioned it until 10 minutes into the video. But it's there, patreon.com/Hammers Chat, links in the description below. Some people have joined up using their trial. Clever. Get to watch the video without paying any money. But if you want to go try it out, please do. It makes up for those that quit Patreon at the end of December and emailed to say the reason they're quitting is because I didn't do the videos I said I would at the end of December because my daughter was in intensive care. Feels a bit harsh, but it makes up for it a little bit. But I'm going to tell you a snippet of what Gonza said. Gonza said in there that some people on the West Ham board don't want Graham Potter, and there's some people that do. And I'm going to put two and two together here. This is from me, not Gonzo. Brady really wants Graham Potter. Her husband, the link is that her husband played with Graham Potter at, I think it was Birmingham City. There's a team photo. I've got it on my phone. There's a team photo. And Potter's in the second row and her husband's on the front row. So there's the link of how Karren Brady knows Graham Potter. And Sullivan's not always been keen. I can only imagine David Sullivan's got to the point where he knows Lopetegui needs to go, but he doesn't know who to go and get. And this is the exact problem we had in the summer. He knew he wanted to replace David Moyes, or he had to replace David Moyes because Moyes wouldn't sign a new contract which allowed him staying in a little bit of power. Reading between the lines of what David Moyes has reported himself, that's my own conclusion, that there was a contract, but it meant that Sneijden had the final say on transfers, and therefore Moyes didn't sign it. He didn't want to sign it because he wasn't happy with the conditions. So Sullivan knew in the summer he needed to go get a manager. He doesn't know how. He doesn't know how to go and employ someone. He doesn't know sort of how to source a manager. The only way Sullivan knows is with certain agents in his ears. Will Salthouse, Barry Silkman, those types of agent in his ear. They scuppered the deal in January for Osman. I remember we were going after Osman, and listen, Tim Sneijden made a hoo-ha in January by negotiating with the wrong agent for Osman, but that could have been overcome because the FA literally said to him, that's the wrong agent, you need to deal with this one. You can solve that. But then agents were in Sullivan's ear, and I don't go for him, go for Jota. Remember, we were then trying to go for Jota, who we couldn't sign because of tax issues. Anyway, it just sums football up a little bit, really. So when it comes to replacing Lopetegui, and this is just me being me, like I've said, I've always believed we would sack Lopetegui, but he needs to have someone lined up. He won't do it until the next guy's ready to sign on the dotted line. Hence why we're limited to free agent managers, because you're not going to go, well, you could, but we won't go and negotiate with a manager in work at another club. Well, we have a manager in work at our club. Even that's a bit too far for Sullivan. So it's going to have to be a freebie. It's Graham Potter signing until the end of the season, and I think it makes me nervous. It makes me really nervous because at least with Lopetegui, I'm putting what I wanted to one side here. At least with Lopetegui, Sullivan hired the guy he wanted. He blocked out external noise. He possibly listened to and was swayed by age. I don't know this part. Possibly he was swayed by agents, but he almost ignored what Tim Sneijden wanted. He ignored a lot, and he decided, this is what I want and this is what I'm doing. He did what he thought was right. Now, he's now admitting his error and saying, right, okay, I've got this wrong, I'm going to have to sack him. But if he's going to hire Potter, my worry is even he doesn't believe that Potter is the right guy to replace Lopetegui. I'm not sure. I am not sure. I wouldn't have had him in the summer, and I keep stressing this. The managers I wanted in the summer are different to now because we're in a different situation. The managers available to West Ham in the summer are different to the ones available now because for a whole host of reasons which you already know. But the choice doesn't have to be Lopetegui or Cooper, but if the choice was Lopetegui or Potter, I'm going with Potter purely because I know what Lopetegui brings to West Ham and I don't like it. On Saturday, I thought it was a decent enough performance from us. We still got beat 4-1, and it was still easy to cut through our defence. That was one of our better performances this season. It's not good. We are not... When Southampton decided to part ways with Russell Martin, they needed a magician of a manager. They needed somebody that could come in and do the unexpected. They needed somebody that was incredible, that was going to keep them up, because that's what's required at Southampton. Right now, we don't need that. We do not need the best manager in the league, because whoever we bring in, if it is Graham Potter, he will be asked to do one thing: keep West Ham in the Premier League, because we're out the League Cup, and we're going to be out the bloody FA Cup as well because of the board's attitude to it. So we've only got the league, and it will just be a case of just keep us in the Premier League. Just don't get relegated. I don't think you have to be a great manager to achieve that. West Ham, you could be an average manager, and you manage. I think Steve Cooper could. Maybe that's pushing it. Maybe Steve Cooper could do it, but you don't even have to be a top manager to keep this West Ham squad up. And that's what it is now. And it's a shame that we're talking like that in January, but ultimately that will be the job spec. Keep West Ham in the Premier League. Then in the summer, we can reevaluate. And if other people need sacked, we can sack them in the summer. But if you are going to get Potter in, and the board are serious about him and want to make him long-term, the only thing I will say is they should consider Dan Ashworth as well. If that guy, if Potter's the man, Ashworth is there, but he won't be there for long. He won't. His CV is a good CV. Come through with FA, did good work at Brighton, did good work at Newcastle. Man United gets stick for it, but I keep saying I don't think it's that bad a window. I think Hoyland's a good striker. I thought Ugarte was fantastic against Liverpool yesterday. Lenny Yorden might come good. Xerxes looks like a waste of money, really. He's the one that sticks out like a sore thumb. Not sure about that. Mazraoui's been all right for them. It's 5 signings. Jury's out on them, really, but I don't think it was as bad a window as some people made on. He's a good director of football, Ashworth. So if you're going to get Potter, consider him as well. Anyway, that's the latest at West Ham. It's possibly going to change. I'm not even tomorrow. To tell you what, tomorrow night, by the way, we're bringing back Cup of Tea. Now on Patreon, we do Mug of Tea once a month. Me and Gonzo take questions from the mild addicts and addicts, and some hour, maybe 2 1-hour shows or something out of it. But tomorrow night, we're going old school. So if you're a subscriber and you know what Cup of Tea is, you're what I would consider an old school subscriber of Hammers Chat. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. on this channel, myself and Gonzo, Cup of Tea is coming back for one night and one night only. I'm looking forward to it, actually. I'm looking forward to it. So if you're kicking around tomorrow at 7 p.m, I think it's 7 p.m, but we'll confirm in Gonzo's phone and video tomorrow. 7 p.m. tomorrow. We'll see you there.